These strategies are about interpersonal communication, the messages that people receive from what we say and how we say it. And we know from our own experience that the words people use, the tone of their voice, their body language, eye contact, has a big influence on how we feel and think about them and things. So, as Safir says, this is what we want to get across. That students feel that smart is something they can get, and we're going to show them how to do it. And that's where the previous strategies about teaching, about learning, are important, because we're showing them that if they do these things, they're more likely to learn better. And hopefully, through the whole experience of our relationship and the strategies that we're using, get them to want to do it. Here's a nice quote to reflect on. Is this true? I think so in most cases. So, let's look at a bit of research that's gone on for many years, and that has been research looking at the way teachers interact with students based on their perception of whether those students are bright or less bright, or whatever terminology we want to use. What we see is quite disturbing. Is a summary of some research done by Cooper. That teachers who believe they were interacting with bright students actually smiled and nodded their heads more often than teachers interacting with slow students. Even their body posture, their tone, were communicating different messages. Again, the kind of learning opportunities, the tasks that were given, that the students were labelled bright, were given perhaps more challenging, maybe more interesting tasks. And the amount of time they stay with students when students fail to answer a question, very subtle thing that if a teacher is staying with you longer, it somehow communicates something different than if they move on quickly. Engagement in academic content, again, more so with students who are perceived as high rather than low expectation students. The use of praise. So if we look at these 5 areas that Cooper's talking about, we can see that there are significant differences in the types of interactions that can support or perhaps restrict learning, that seem to work against students who are labelled in less bright terms. And just to finish on a technique that I think is really powerful, and that is the smile. I agree with Atin Yates. It's a really powerful tool in teaching. There's lots of reasons for this, that when we smile at a student, it's very hard, providing it's a genuine smile and it's part of good interpersonal communication. It's hard for students over time not to react to that, if only subconsciously, to model it in their unconscious subliminal mind and eventually start smiling back. Try it out. It definitely works. And for those people living in Singapore, you'll remember the Smile campaign. There was a reason for that. Finally, the interpersonal aspect helps students to feel a sense of trust and respect, and builds something that we know is fundamentally important, and that's rapport. Great quote from Anthony Robbins: ultimate tool for getting results with other people, and that includes students. So think about how this works and how you can develop skill in these interpersonal exchanges with students.